Meghan Markle and Prince Harry Royal Wedding 2018. Welcome to Newsweek's live coverage of the royal wedding between Britain's Prince Harry and American actor Meghan Markle. Stay with us to follow the day's events as the world's most popular royal family welcomes an American into the fold. The wedding service began at 7 a.m. and the couple left the chapel at 8 a.m. Hundreds of thousands of people descended on the town of Windsor. Prince Charles will walk Meghan Markle down the aisle at the royal wedding, the modern royal wedding, how TV turned it into a very public affair. More. 8:32 a.m. Windsor is a popular tourist destination, but you can bet no American ever had a tour like that. The procession comes to a close as the couple return to the castle, leaving the crowds behind. One hopeful fan shouted "Marry me" as the prince passed, but the look on his face suggests no second thoughts. 8:27 a.m. The procession takes the couple down the long walk, the route through the Windsor Castle grounds up to the castle gate. At 2.65 miles long, the crowds have plenty of chances to shout their congratulations to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. The glorious weather is still basking this happy scene in sun, and the spectators, and royal couple, are delighted. 8:17 a.m. Harry and Meghan enter Windsor's High Street to a deafening reception. Tens of thousands have packed into the ancient town to celebrate, and they're all shouting at once. Red, white and blue is everywhere, with Union flags and star-spangled banners waving from all hands, windows, lampposts and anything else they can be affixed to. The royal carriage is followed by mounted members of the household cavalry, resplendent in their ceremonial armor. 8:11 a.m. A military band, sporting the famous bearskin hats of the royal guards, play them out with another rendition of God Save the Queen. 8:06 a.m., and there it is, the kiss the world was waiting for. Harry and Meghan kiss as they leave the chapel to applause and cheers from the crowds gathered outside. The royal family, joined by Doria wait at the entrance to the chapel and watch the happy couple climb into their horse-drawn carriage. 8:03 a.m., now a treat for patriotic Brits everywhere, as the congregation joins in a rousing rendition of God Save the Queen, the Queen herself watching quietly. Cheers can be heard from the crowds outside the chapel as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex leave the chapel to embark on their carriage procession around Windsor. 7:58 a.m. The congregation is now being treated to a performance by 19-year-old cellist Sheku Kanneh-Mason, a rising star showing the world how marvelously talented he is. 7:52 a.m. The signing of the registers is accompanied by music as the service draws to a close. 7:40 a.m. The rings are exchanged. Mother Doria can be seen over her daughter's shoulder smiling proudly as Archbishop of Canterbury Justin Welby proclaims Meghan and Harry husband and wife. 7:38 a.m. Harry and Meghan stand to take their vows. Harry's delivery is solid, but Meghan's acting background gives her the edge. Her flawless vows are delivered through a wide smile. 7:32 a.m. My brother, my sister. God love you, and God bless you, Curry says to the couple, closing his powerful sermon. Former leader of Britain's Labour Party, Ed Miliband, certainly seemed to enjoy it. 7:30 a.m. Curry prepares to end his exceptional sermon. I'll sit down, he says to Harry and Meghan, adding, we got to get y'all married, prompting laughter from the congregation. 7:25 a.m. Curry's delivery is captivating. A truly American-style sermon in such a traditional and ancient British chapel is a powerful metaphor for today's events. Curry makes reference to the American slave trade in his remarks. He urges the congregation to imagine a world where love is the way. When love is the way, no child would ever go to bed hungry again, he says. Poverty will become history. The earth will become a sanctuary. We will lay down our swords and shields. 7:19 a.m. The sermon is now being given by the Most Reverend Michael Bruce Curry, an American preacher originally from Chicago. He quotes Martin Luther King, saying we must harness the redemptive power of love. 7:15 a.m. The first reading is from Lady Jane Fellows, a sister of Princess Diana and aunt to Harry. All three of Diana's siblings, Earl Charles at Spencer, Lady Sarah McCorquodale and Lady Jane Fellows are in attendance. 7:12 a.m. A sigh of relief echoes around the world as no one objects to the marriage. 7:06 a.m. Harry greets his bride with a smile as she arrives. Both looked nervous when entering the chapel, but they are now beaming. The entrance music ends, and the service begins. 7:02 a.m. Here's Meghan. She steps out of her in a beautiful flowing white dress. It takes her party some time to arrange the long white dress, but they get there. As the chapel bells toll, she makes her way up the steps and into the church, to be greeted by fanfare trumpets. 6:57 a.m. And here we have the Queen. The matriarch arrives to a rapturous reception from the crowd. She steps out of her car alongside her 96-year-old husband Prince Philip. Prince Charles, the father of the groom and the man who will walk Meghan down the aisle, has also arrived with wife Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall. The bridesmaids and page boys are also here, to the delight of the assembled spectators. 6:50 a.m. Harry has taken his seat, chatting and smiling with brother William as they wait. Meghan will take about 10 minutes to get to the chapel, having just entered the castle. Her convoy flew past tens of thousands of people cheering and waving British and American flags along the roadside. 6:45 a.m. And here's the prince. He arrives alongside brother and best man Prince William. Dressed in military uniform, they get a huge welcome from the crowd. Are those some nerves I see in Harry's expression? He manages a wave and a smile nonetheless as he chats with William. They walk up the steps to meet the Dean of Windsor, who will be overseeing the service today, alongside 2 other ministers. Most of the other members of the royal family have taken their seats. Once they are here, we will just be waiting for the most important woman of the day, the Queen. It's always the Queen. Once she is here, Meghan will be next. There are rumors she is running slightly late, so Harry might be left waiting for his bride. 6:25 a.m. We've had our first sight of Meghan as she leaves her hotel with Mother Doria in a Rolls-Royce Phantom. We can't see much of the dress yet, but we can see that she is wearing a veil. Unsurprisingly, the dress is white. She looks happy and relaxed, waving to the crowd. The drive to Windsor Castle is just over 9 miles. Plenty of time for nerves to set in. Meanwhile, the royal family has been arriving at the chapel. Harry will appear with Prince William at around 6:45 a.m. and the Queen, as is protocol, will be the last royal to enter, just before Meghan herself appears. 6:15 a.m. Some more well-known American faces have arrived at the chapel in front of delighted spectators. Serena Williams is in attendance, having posted photos of herself beforehand all dressed up on Twitter, telling followers, "Ready for my friend's wedding." Meghan's fellow Suits cast members are here too. On-screen husband Patrick J. Adams has entered the chapel, as has Gabriel Macht who plays Harvey Specter. Abigail Spencer, Sarah Rafferty and Gina Torres have all also arrived. 5:50 a.m. Elton John has now arrived in the chapel. Most guests are now milling about inside, providing the cameras with a fascinating mix of people from different backgrounds, professions and nations. Members of the royal family will be arriving from around 6:20 a.m. onwards. Harry will appear at 6:45 a.m., and Meghan just moments before the clock strikes 7 a.m. But not everyone is getting into the party vibe today. The annual convention of the British Anti-Monarchist Republic Organisation is kicking off in London this afternoon. The group argues that hereditary public office goes against every democratic principle, and calls for the abolition of the monarchy, to be replaced by an elected head of state. 5:35 a.m. We've got some Royalisters arriving now. George and Jamal Clooney seem to be enjoying the sunshine, waving to the crowds as they make their way to the chapel. Not far behind are David and Victoria Beckham, whose appearance gets a good reaction from the crowd. David even stops for a quick snap with a fan before continuing on. 5:25 a.m. Kensington Palace has revealed some information about the wedding rings that Harry and Meghan will exchange later today. Meghan's ring is made from a piece of Welsh gold, gifted by the Queen. Prince Harry's ring will be a platinum band with a textured finish, The rings have been made by the London-based Cleve & Company and will be carried to the chapel by Prince William, Harry's older brother and best man. 5:10 a.m. The wedding guest list provides a fascinating combination of celebrities and VIPs from the UK, US and further afield. So far we've seen Oprah, Idris Elba and James Blunt all arrive, among others. Everyone is looking sharp. You wouldn't want to be the one to offend the Queen by ignoring today's dress code. The celebs are entering the chapel, which has been decked out in the heraldic colours and flags of the royal family. Today's guests are sitting among centuries of British history, and the excitement on their faces is clear. Prime Minister Theresa May has also sent her best wishes to the couple and all those celebrating via Twitter. 4:50 a.m. As the first of some 600 guests arrive at the chapel, here are some images from Windsor on the morning of the wedding. 4:30 a.m. Windsor is already bursting at the seams. Guests for the actual ceremony in the castle's St. George's Chapel are beginning to arrive, though the ceremony itself won't begin for some time yet. Local police are prepared for 100,000 spectators today. The population of Windsor is just over 300,000, so this is quite the burden for the historic town to take on. Local businesses won't mind though. The opening times for UK pubs have been extended by 2 hours to allow Brits to toast the royal couple until 1 a.m. local time. There will be plenty of people feeling a bit groggy tomorrow, but how often does the sixth in line to the British throne marry an American? 4:15 a.m. Members of the British public who have been invited to watch the wedding from the grounds of Windsor Castle have started to arrive. It's a nice date for a royal wedding, as Windsor is bathed in beautiful sun under clear blue skies. The lucky 2,640 public guests are looking sharp for the big day. Those celebrating in the nearby town seem to have gone for a slightly different look. There's a lot of fancy dress, face paint and novelty Harry and Meghan masks on display. Windsor has been painted red, white and blue by thousands of Union flags and star-spangled banners. 4 a.m. The official royal titles of the happy couple have been announced. Queen Elizabeth II will make Harry and Meghan the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, with the Prince also being made the Earl of Dumbarton and Baron Kilkeel. The Duke of Sussex title has not been in use since 1843, and has been recreated especially for today's wedding. Once married, Meghan will become a princess, but will not be called Princess Meghan because she does not have royal blood. She will be able to go by Princess Henry of Wales, but will most commonly be known as the Duchess of Sussex. Meghan will now be known as Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. 3:45 a.m. American fans of the royal family will need to be up very early to watch British history being made today. U.S. networks will start their coverage between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. Check out our guide of where and when you can watch the festivities. Despite the early start, almost half of the U.S. plans to watch the wedding, according to a survey by SurveyMonkey Audience and Vanity Fair. The fact that bride Meghan Markle is American seems to have captured the imagination of her compatriots. In comparison, only 39% of Americans watched the wedding of Prince William and Kate Middleton in 2011. Meanwhile, a poll released last week indicated that the majority of Brits don't actually care about the wedding. This apathy will be news to the tens of thousands of Brits descending on Windsor and millions more holding their own celebrations nationwide. 3:30 a.m. The eyes of the world turn to the UK today, as Britons prepare to celebrate the wedding of Prince Harry and American actor Meghan Markle. Royalists have been arriving in the historic town of Windsor for days to secure a spot close to the celebrations, some even sleeping rough after officials imposed a tent ban in the town. The celebrations will center on the Norman-era Windsor Castle, where the wedding service will begin at 7 a.m.